Waypoints is about riding bikes where people normally wouldn't consider riding bikes. Back roads, logging roads, places that most people wouldn't even consider driving their cars.
We put Waypoints together as having a destination to arrive at, but the story is told through how we get there. We chose Sloquet Hot Springs as a final destination because it's just a nice place to wind up at and relax. The ride itself is about 240 kilometers heading northeast from Vancouver with over 5,000 meters elevation change. The West Harrison Forest Service Road is pretty aggressive in some sections with steep grades and a ton of loose gravel.
Hey, I'm Derek. I work as a photographer and graphic designer, and I really enjoy riding bicycles and drinking whiskey.
My name is Kyle Scully. I like long walks on the beach and aggressive rap music.
My name is Karen McCarthy. I ride bikes. Waypoints is a good way for me to go outside and ride a bike and go places I typically wouldn't have much access to. Day one was I wouldn't say rough for me, but it was rough for some of us. And that meant a slow start for all of us, which was fine. It just meant that we needed to readjust our expectations for the following days. And that was fine too, because when we started out, I prepped the boys for the idea that we might not make it to Sloquet in 2 days of riding.
The day was fun. It felt great to finally get out of the city, but it was hard to accept that we were already pretty behind schedule. Being able to get to the FSR on day 2 and at least gain some distance on the FSR before we set up camp for the night was very rewarding. Day 1 was just over 100 kilometers and day 2 was about 65 kilometers. We were all in pretty good spirits, a little bit sore, but we knew the last day was going to be the most challenging.
From previously scouting, we knew over half the climbing in the whole trip was in the last 70K, and it's also where the roughest and steepest grades lie.
Was a bit mentally daunting at the beginning of the ride as we were setting out, which is tough at the beginning of a long day to know that you're already feeling behind.
Given we live in British Columbia, we have an extensive network of forestry service roads, but they've all been put in to service infrastructure for the backcountry. And trucks were coming up. It's like a legitimate threat coming through blind corners, and sometimes you're just riding together trying to have a chat. You kind of have in the back of your mind the fact a truck could whip around the corner doing maybe like 50, 60K, and they're not too fond of you taking up the whole road.
Yeah, I think they were pretty surprised to see us out there, especially on bikes.
Tonight never happened. The watch hands recorded this moment.
The climbing towards the end of the day when we were losing our daylight and we knew that we didn't have much daylight left and we knew that we had quite a ways to go, we were looking at the sun starting to set behind the mountain. You just need to deal with it and just keep rolling.
When the sun sets, the mood definitely changed. We were more so in survival mode, and at that point we were all ready to rest.
Our spirits were up and our guards were down.
And we started to hit that last chunk of road. We knew it was 8 to 9 kilometers was what we were told. Taking that last bit of road and watching my Garmin, I looked at it probably like every 0.2 kilometers or even less. And I looked at the sky and it was so dark, and the stars were so bright and incredibly beautiful. And there was a point at which you could smell the sulfur from the springs along the road. And finally being so relieved that I knew that I can just relax and enjoy it soon.
Getting to Sloquet at night, it didn't really impact us until the sun rose and we got up that we were actually there. And we made our way down to the hot springs and realized that we made it.
The trip to me was about riding to new places that my friends and I had never been before. It was pretty cool knowing that we rode from our front doors all the way to these hot springs in the middle of nowhere, and it was pretty awesome finally getting to get in and have a nice soak.